So President Obama gives a speech to the nation last night about ISIS or ISIL, pick your poison, if you will. And he's going to tell us that it's horrible and there's only one answer: America. Here's my favorite part of the speech, where he does everything but say, America, fuck yeah. Let's watch.
A broad American leadership is the one constant in an uncertain world. It is America that has the capacity and the will to mobilize the world against terrorists. It is America that has rallied the world against Russian aggression and in support of the Ukrainian people's right to determine their own destiny. It is America, our scientists, our doctors, our know-how that can help contain and cure the outbreak of Ebola. It is America that helped remove and destroy Syria's declared chemical weapons so that they can't pose a threat to the Syrian people or the world again. And it is America that is helping Muslim communities around the world, not just in the fight against terrorism, but in the fight for opportunity and tolerance and a more hopeful future. America, our endless blessings bestow an enduring burden. But as Americans, we welcome our responsibility to lead.
Well, when I was a kid, I probably would have eaten that up. Now I'm a little bit more skeptical that when people in the Middle East see America coming, they're like, oh, thanks God, there's hope. Now, some do, the Yazidis do, and obviously the opponents of Saddam Hussein did to some degree. But a great majority of the time, unfortunately, when they see America coming, they usually have one reaction: duck. Because we usually come with bombs. So it's a curious kind of hope, and it's unsettled the Middle East tremendously. That's the reason we have ISIS in the first place, because we invaded Saddam, and toppled his reign, and then we made a mess of it, and all of a sudden, whoa, look at that! Islamic fundamentalism arose out of the ashes of Iraq. Well, that's what happens. So now he's going to get into his track record and how awesome he is.
As Commander-in-Chief, my highest priority is the security of the American people. Over the last several years, we have consistently taken the fight to terrorists who threaten our country. We took out Osama bin Laden and much of al-Qaeda's leadership in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We've targeted al-Qaeda's affiliate in Yemen and recently eliminated the top commander of its affiliate in Somalia. We've done so while bringing more than 140,000 American troops home from Iraq and drawing down our forces in Afghanistan, where our combat mission will end later this year. Thanks to our military and counterterrorism professionals, America is safer.
America. Okay. I'm not sure some of that stuff is so great. First of all, bringing home the troops from Iraq, terrific. Except your whole speech tonight was dedicated to sending them back in. Now, he says there won't be boots on the ground, as he told us later in the speech, which you're going to watch for yourself, that he's going to put more boots on the ground. So, change you can believe in. We're out of Iraq and Afghanistan. Those two wars boys started. Now starts a war in Iraq and Syria. Okay, great. Change. Look at all wonderful things we did in Yemen and Somalia, like bombings. And then they'll turn around and say they hate us because they hate us. We're bombing in Yemen, Somalia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, and now Syria. And then we go, I wonder why people don't like us. I don't know. Crazy talk. So, all right, tell us how bad ISIS is. We all agree. Go ahead.
Now, let's make two things clear. ISIL is not Islamic. No religion condones the killing of innocents, and the vast majority of ISIL's victims have been Muslim. And ISIL is certainly not a state. It was formerly al-Qaeda's affiliate in Iraq and has taken advantage of sectarian strife and Syria's civil war to gain territory on both sides of the Iraq-Syrian border. It is recognized by no government, nor by the people it subjugates. ISIL is a terrorist organization, pure and simple, and it has no vision other than the slaughter of all who stand in its way.
Okay, that's all true, but it doesn't really encourage me, because then you're saying we're going to go and attack a gas. It has no form, it has no state, and like, at least when we invaded Iraq, we know Saddam Hussein's military is there, his headquarters are there, his tanks are there, his planes are there, right? This thing is amorphous. This is like, I don't know where it is. Screw it, let's spend 3 years trying to wage war on them in 2 different countries at least. I'm not that encouraged. Okay, so now this is the most perplexing part. This is the part almost no one is concentrating on when everyone should be concentrating on this.
If left unchecked, these terrorists could pose a growing threat beyond that region, including to the United States. While we have not yet detected specific plotting against our homeland, ISIL leaders have threatened America and our allies. I know many Americans are concerned about these threats. Tonight, I want you to know that the United States of America is meeting them with strength and resolve.
Okay, so let me get this right. There are no threats, but we're going to meet them anyway. I know a lot of you are concerned about the threats that don't exist, so I'm going to launch a war. The president you elected twice to get us out of wars is going to launch a new war in 2 different countries on a threat I just told you doesn't exist, at least towards us. They're horrible people. They do decapitations, mass executions, etc. in Iraq and Syria. And okay, then let's declare that we're the world's police and say, yeah, obviously they don't pose no threat to us, but we went to go protect the Yazidi, which I agree with. Now we're going to spread that mission out to protect Shiites and Kurds and other Sunnis fighting against other Shiites in Syria. That's literal, by the way, because there's a lot of people now, especially Republicans, saying arm the other Sunni Muslim fundamentalist rebels in Syria so they can defeat ISIS and Assad, who's leading Syria, even though none of this poses a threat to us. Well played, well played. Change. That's great. Now let's get more specific. This is what a lot of people are taking away from this speech, and rightfully so. Where else are we going, Mr. President?
Our objective is clear. We will degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL through a comprehensive and sustained counterterrorism strategy. First, we will conduct a systematic campaign of airstrikes against these terrorists. Moreover, I've made it clear that we will hunt down terrorists who threaten our country wherever they are. That means I will not hesitate to take action against ISIL in Syria as well as Iraq. This is a core principle of my presidency. If you threaten America, you will find no safe haven.
So the core principle is, I will get you out of wars and then get you back into others. Even though no one attacked us, wait a minute, we attacked Iraq when they hadn't attacked us. Now, ISIS at least did the decapitations of 2 journalists, which sickened us, right? And they are American citizens. You want to do a limited campaign for what? Payback, vengeance? All right, I can understand that, right? But you're now getting us into 2 wars in Iraq and Syria when you say they have not posed a threat to us, they have no current plans to attack us. But don't worry, I'm totally different than Bush, because at least now it's not just Iraq, it's also its neighbors. All right, now here's another one of my favorites. The magical no boots on the ground soldiers.
We will send an additional 475 service members to Iraq. As I've said before, these American forces will not have a combat mission. We will not get dragged into another ground war in Iraq. But they are needed to support Iraqi and Kurdish forces with training, intelligence, and equipment.
Yeah, no, the support guys in Vietnam never got us into any trouble. We just put a couple of support guys in Vietnam, and then we just took them right out, and we never had a big, wait a minute. He always says there's no boots on the ground. What are these guys wearing? Are they wearing loafers? Okay, there's already 1,100 US servicemen in Iraq. Now there's going to be over 1,500. And it seems like literally every week we add more. We go, no, they're not boots on the ground. They're floating above the ground. They're like, ooh, they float above the ground. And if they ever touch it, oh, then we'd have a war. We've already done we've done hundreds of bombings. We have 1,500 guys on the ground who are technically not on the ground. It's a goddamn war. That's what it is. Did you ask for congressional authorization? Of course not.
I have the authority to address the threat from ISIL, but I believe we are strongest as a nation when the President and Congress work together. So I welcome congressional support for this effort in order to show the world that Americans are united in confronting this danger.
That is so stupid. So if he'd asked for congressional authorization, then everybody would be on the hook and he would say, hey, you guys voted for it. Right now he says, I'm already going to do it. Can you authorize it, in hindsight? I mean, if they have any sense at all, and the Republicans are good at politics, they'll say, no, we're not going to authorize it afterwards. Then we'll be on the hook for it. You idiot, you already did it by yourself. We pushed you into it, and if it goes badly, since we didn't vote for it, we'll just blame it on you. See, let me give you more details on that from Huffington Post. Apparently, Obama met with, they explained, congressional leaders on Tuesday. That's, of course, before he gave the speech on Wednesday, telling them that he has authority needed to take action against the Islamic State in Syria. And we've told you in the past that that authority is based on Bush administration memos from the guy who wrote the torture memos, saying, yeah, you got any authority you like, who cares? I read it into the Constitution. It says you're the president, commander-in-chief. Good enough. Good enough. You have the authority to declare any war you like, even though that is exactly the opposite of what the Constitution says. Now, we continue. According to the Associated Press, the White House said Obama told lawmakers he was open to action from Congress that would aid the overall effort and demonstrate to the world that the United States is united in defeating the threat from ISIL. Well, you see, a good way to show that would have been to get that authorization ahead of time. See, we're united. Congress agrees. What could I do? Congress told me to invade ISIS. Then you can't blame me, right? Nope. Instead, you do the politically stupid thing of going out ahead because they told you to be strong, show strength and resolve. Oh, yeah, good job, idiot. Now we get to blame it on you. And then let's just reiterate, let's be clear on this. He said, I want everybody to understand, and this was before he gave the speech, that we have not seen any immediate intelligence about threats to the homeland from ISIL. That's not what this is about. Now, God damn it, what is it about? Why are we starting a war in two different countries if there is no immediate threat to the country? Okay? Now, of course, because of all of the tricks on TV, etc., there's ISIS, panic, they're coming, they're crossing the border. Oh my God, they almost crossed into Texas. Nonsense. That part is totally made up. Get a load of this. 7 in 10 Americans believe ISIS has the resources to attack the US. What does that mean? Are they going to come in a submarine? When did they get that? Are they going to come over in planes? What? But no, 7 in 10 Americans, panic. You know what it reminds me of? Let's take a poll, look at a poll from 2002 before the Iraq War. 66% of Americans believe that Saddam Hussein helped the terrorists in the 9/11 attacks. That, of course, was completely and utterly untrue. But 66% of Americans believed it anyway. That's why we rushed into Iraq. Now, 70% of Americans believe ISIS is almost in Albuquerque. So here we go, rushing into Iraq and Syria again. Now, final part of the president's speech. This is all, he assures us, I'm totally wrong about this. It's very different than the Iraq and Afghanistan wars.
But I want the American people to understand how this effort will be different from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. It will not involve American combat troops fighting on foreign soil. This strategy of taking out terrorists who threaten us while supporting partners on the front lines is one that we have successfully pursued in Yemen and Somalia for years.
Oh, okay, so those magical floating troops, over 1,500 once he sends the new batch in, they're totally different than the boots on the ground we had in Iraq before when we invaded. Now, there's less of them today than there was in the initial invasion. Good news, bad news on that front. Remember, one of the problems we had in Iraq was that we didn't have enough soldiers when we invaded because Rumsfeld thought, we don't need a big army. We can do this on the cheap, right? Mark my words. He will turn around and 2 weeks, 2 months, 8 months, whatever time frame it is. I don't know the time frame, but it will be relatively quick. And he'll say, well, I mean, we only got 1,500 guys there, and this ISIS is a big threat. Well, we're going to need it. We don't want to put those 1,500 in jeopardy. We're going to have to put more to support them, right? I mean, you don't want to leave those 1,500 to die, do you? And God forbid if they shoot down one of our planes. If they shoot one of our planes, that's it. We're going to send in 2 brigades, and after that, we're going to send in everything else in the world. And by the way, this is what ISIS wants us to do. They want us to bankrupt ourselves. If they care about us at all, first thing they want to do is establish an Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. If they care about us at all, what they want us to do is to engage them so they can tell the rest of the Sunnis in the world, look at these Americans. The great Satan has attacked us, but we stand strong against them and they can't wipe us out. And then we're going to say, oh yeah, we can wipe you out. We're going to put in more troops. We're going to do more bombings. And then they say, look at the Americans killing more Sunnis on the ground. Everybody rush in and help. it has a chance to be wildly counterproductive. I'm not a peacenik. I don't hug trees. I was in favor of the Libya action. I was in favor of the first Persian Gulf War. I was in favor of Afghanistan in the beginning. But funny enough, I agree with Barack Obama when he said, before he ever became president, I'm not against all wars, I'm against dumb wars. We don't have a good plan here. We're gonna blunder in, and then next thing you know, we're gonna turn around and go, how did we wind up in another war in the Middle East? Well, this is how we wound up there.